Elon Musk's son, X, walked out of school, wiping sweat from his forehead, his school bag slung carelessly over one shoulder. The summer heat was relentless, but his eyes caught a familiar silhouette beside the car, sparking a flicker of hope. Was this a surprise from his father? It wasn't. It was Jonathan Roumie, known not for wealth or status, but for a heart radiating genuine kindness. Jonathan's eyes met X's with a gentle smile. "Hey, little genius, how was school today?" he asked, his voice warm and disarming. X shrugged, the weight of the day still on him. "Too hot. Can you maybe treat me to some ice cream?" His boyish charm broke through. Jonathan chuckled, his laughter smooth like a familiar melody. "Why not? Come on, get in. Let's cool off in style." He opened the Mercedes door invitingly. In that moment, two worlds met, not through glitz or fame, but through simple human connection and laughter. Neither could guess how quickly this carefree afternoon would unravel into something far bigger, a moment that would shock many and inspire even more. For now, the sun was warm, ice cream was a promise, and a simple Saturday held the quiet magic of new beginnings. Before we continue, we'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Inside the luxurious black Mercedes, sunlight streamed through the windows as Jonathan started the engine, the hum of the city fading behind them. X settled into the passenger seat, the tension of school melting away. Conversation flowed naturally. Jonathan asked about X's classes, his dreams, and the pressures of growing up under a famous name. X spoke with surprising honesty. "Sometimes, it feels like everyone expects me to be perfect, but I just want to be me." Jonathan nodded knowingly, sharing stories of his own struggles with expectations and fame. As they drove, city streets gave way to quieter neighborhoods, the afternoon sun casting long shadows that promised peace. Their destination was a small, local ice cream parlor, chosen for its simplicity. X's smile returned, genuine and bright, as he savored the cold treat and the rare normalcy of the moment. But outside, the world remained unforgiving. Security guards from a nearby event had noticed the car and its unusual occupants, their eyes narrowing with suspicion. The calm ride was about to end abruptly, and everything would change in an instant. As Jonathan and X stepped out of the ice cream parlor, two stern security guards approached, their faces rigid with authority. Without warning, one demanded they leave immediately, citing vague security concerns but offering no explanation. The words hit like a cold wind. Neither expected such a swift dismissal from a place they'd just begun to enjoy. Jonathan, calm but firm, asked for clarification, seeking to understand the reason behind the harsh treatment. The guards remained unmoved, their posture stiff, a barrier built on protocol but tinged with something deeper. Nearby onlookers whispered, the scene feeling less about rules and more about judgment. X's eyes met Jonathan's in a silent exchange, patience and dignity over anger. Despite the humiliation, both chose restraint, knowing strength lies in standing firm without raising a voice. But the guards insisted, their tone rising, the tension thickening like a storm about to break. In that moment, the quiet afternoon shattered, revealing fault lines no one had seen coming. With no choice left, Elon Musk's son and Jonathan Roumie were escorted off the property, their exit quiet but heavy with unspoken questions. The Mercedes pulled away, its engine's hum contrasting the charged silence between its passengers. X stared out the window, the sting of rejection sharper than the afternoon sun. Jonathan remained calm, but inside, he was calculating what this meant, not just for them, but for a broader reality. "Sometimes," he said softly, "being in the right place at the wrong time is more than coincidence." The moment was a harsh reminder that status and fame don't always shield from prejudice. As the city's noise returned, so did the weight of invisible judgments, assumptions rooted in fear rather than fact. Yet, amid it all, a spark emerged, a resolve to turn humiliation into purpose. For X, this wasn't the end, but a beginning, a call to redefine legacy beyond wealth and name. For Jonathan, it was another story to tell, another fight for dignity where power tried to silence truth. Later, away from flashing cameras and gossip, Jonathan and X found a quiet park bench bathed in golden hour light to collect their thoughts. The incident replayed silently between them, each detail a thread in a tapestry of social tension. Jonathan spoke gently about resilience and the quiet power of patience, reminding X that character is built in such moments. X listened, absorbing lessons no school could teach, the harsh reality of judgment wrapped in unspoken fear. They discussed the responsibility of privilege, not as a shield, but as a platform to speak truth. The day had become more than being thrown out. It was a lesson in courage and humanity. The world rushed on, unaware of the subtle revolution brewing in their quiet conversation. They agreed, this story must be shared, not to shame, but to inspire change. Under the fading sun, two unlikely allies prepared to turn their experience into a message far greater than themselves. The truth of that Saturday would ripple beyond a single afternoon, challenging assumptions and demanding respect. Word of the incident rippled across social media, first as whispers, then as an urgent roar demanding answers. Videos surfaced, capturing blurred moments of the confrontation, showing the swift removal of Elon's son alongside Jonathan's composed demeanor. Followers and strangers debated fiercely. Questions of privilege, power, and fairness ignited passionate conversations. The story wasn't just about being thrown out. It was about deeper issues of trust and identity. Jonathan watched quietly, hopeful the conversation would spark change, while X faced a storm of reactions, from supporters admiring his grace to critics questioning his place in the incident. Yet the core message remained: dignity in adversity and courage to rise above unfairness. Friends and family offered support, reminding them their experience touched a nerve far beyond their lives. The world shifted subtly, showing cracks in the facade of privilege, revealing a longing for honesty and respect. As the online debate swirled, Jonathan and X prepared to challenge the status quo meaningfully. Behind closed doors, Jonathan and X reviewed the fallout, weighing the consequences of their public story and the responsibility it carried. The incident exposed vulnerabilities they hadn't anticipated, forcing them to confront external criticism and their own fears. Legal advisors urged caution, while friends encouraged transparency. They agreed silence wasn't an option. The truth deserved to be told in its complexity. X reflected on his upbringing and the realization that legacy wasn't just about power, but integrity. Jonathan shared stories of resilience, reinforcing the importance of standing firm. They planned to speak publicly, not for sympathy, but to shine light on a system that misjudges before understanding. The fallout was daunting, but it created an opportunity to address fairness and respect. They knew this was the beginning of a long conversation that would test their courage. The choice was clear: use their voices to turn adversity into progress. When the day arrived to go public, Jonathan and X stood together, cameras flashing as they faced the crowd with calm resolve. Jonathan spoke first, emphasizing empathy and seeing beyond appearances. X followed, sharing reflections on identity and the courage to face judgment without losing himself. Their words resonated, sparking a wave of support from those who saw themselves in their struggles. The statement was a call to action, a plea for understanding and respect. Reporters asked tough questions, but both answered with clarity, refusing to be swayed. The public response was immediate. Messages of encouragement poured in. For many, their bravery symbolized a shift in addressing power and prejudice. The statement marked a turning point, not just for them, but for anyone fighting to be heard and respected. The story attracted allies from surprising corners, activists, educators, and citizens who saw hope in their message. Invitations to speak at community events arrived, offering platforms to share their experience. Conversations opened dialogues about systemic issues often unspoken. Jonathan and X embraced these moments, finding strength in solidarity. Their story inspired others to share experiences of unfair treatment and resilience. The energy was contagious. People turned frustration into positive change. Letters of support crossed borders, reminding them dignity and respect are universal. They built a network of advocates committed to justice beyond headlines. Even skeptics listened, challenged by their sincerity. In these alliances, Jonathan and X discovered the true meaning of influence. Using their moment to lift others up, as the dust settled, Jonathan and X recognized this was not an end, but a powerful beginning. They committed to educating and advocating for those silenced or misunderstood. The path would be challenging, marked by setbacks, but fortified by purpose. Each step was fueled by knowing true change requires persistence. Their journey became a symbol of hope, proof that dignity can shine through hardship. Plans for workshops and outreach took shape, focused on empathy and respect. They understood storytelling's importance, not just theirs, but voices across society. The experience deepened their resolve and vision. They pledged to continue, knowing their story could catalyze understanding. With the sunrise lighting their path, they stepped forward, ready to transform the unbelievable into a legacy of strength and change. The incident echoed louder as news outlets turned a private moment into a public conversation about justice and privilege. Social media buzzed. Some praised their dignity. Others debated security's role. Late at night, Jonathan scrolled through comments, reading support alongside criticism. X felt the weight of scrutiny, but found comfort in calls for fairness. Their story became part of a national dialogue. Every post and hashtag carried the power to influence society's view of those caught between fame and reality. The noise tested their patience, but Jonathan reminded X to stay focused. They learned influence comes with responsibility, not just to speak, but to inspire action. The incident's ripples spread, carrying lessons about humility, strength, and the cost of assumptions. Away from the spotlight, X grappled with self-doubt, wondering if his response was enough. The pressure of being Elon Musk's son made every misstep feel magnified. He questioned if dignity could change hardened minds or if silence was safer. Jonathan's steady presence reminded him vulnerability is strength. They talked late into the night about perseverance and owning one's story. X saw the incident as a test of his capacity to grow beyond expectations. Doubts softened with support and conversation. This reflection became a turning point, grounding X in purpose. He realized the journey wouldn't be easy, but it was worth the struggle to be authentic. In embracing his fears, X took steps toward becoming more than a name or headline. Through the ordeal, an unexpected friendship blossomed between Jonathan and X, built on shared experience and mutual respect. Their conversations deepened, moving beyond the incident to dreams and fears. Jonathan's wisdom balanced X's youthful energy, creating a grounding partnership. They found laughter in small moments, inside jokes, and playful teasing. This friendship became a refuge, reminding them connection heals wounds. They talked about how true friendship transcends status, rooted in honesty and support. X found comfort in being seen beyond his family name. Jonathan admired X's resilience and potential. Together, they planned to use their story to celebrate human connection. In adversity, they found a rare, powerful friendship that promised hope. Motivated by their experience, Jonathan and X organized community discussions on justice and respect, creating spaces for ignored voices. Their events brought together students, activists, and law enforcement in honest dialogue. X's perspective as a young man navigating privilege added depth, while Jonathan's leadership kept discussions productive. They championed listening as the first step toward change. The call to action inspired local initiatives, shifting the story from confrontation to collaboration. Their message was clear: respect and justice are everyday choices. Through these efforts, they fostered relationships that challenged stereotypes and opened pathways for cooperation, creating a stronger, more united community. Not everyone embraced their message. Backlash came from those unwilling to question biases or power structures. Online trolls targeted X, questioning his sincerity, while Jonathan faced criticism for standing with him. The negativity was painful, testing their resolve. Yet supporters reminded them of their mission's importance. They learned speaking truth invites resistance, but reveals true allies. Rather than retreat, they responded with grace and commitment, leaning on their friendship to weather the storm. Each harsh word became a challenge to grow stronger. Through the backlash, they forged a deeper understanding of courage, action despite fear. Months after the incident, Jonathan and X stood at a community event, greeted by warm applause. Their message of dignity and courage resonated far beyond their circle. The struggles hadn't been in vain. They ignited overdue conversations. X felt seen not as a symbol of privilege, but as a catalyst for change. Jonathan reflected with pride on how adversity became a platform for progress. The crowd's energy testified to the power of honest storytelling. The event featured diverse voices united for justice. It was a triumph of community committed to growth, proof that unbelievable stories can inspire hope. As the applause echoed, they knew this was only the beginning. Inspired by the momentum, Jonathan and X focused on building bridges between divided communities, connecting youth, law enforcement, and activists. Initiatives combined education with empathy, breaking down walls of misunderstanding. X's perspective gave depth, while Jonathan's leadership fostered respect. Their projects emphasized listening as the first step toward change. Their work earned praise for bringing fresh voices to old problems. These bridges opened real pathways for cooperation. Through their efforts, they helped create a community stronger and more united, showing that connection can overcome even the toughest challenges. Away from public life, X devoted time to personal growth, journaling fears, hopes, and lessons. The incident forced him to confront his identity beyond his family's shadow. Meditation, mentorship, and honest conversations built resilience. Jonathan supported his journey, sharing wisdom from his own challenges. This introspection transformed X into a thoughtful young man, setting goals rooted in impact. The experience deepened his empathy and purpose. He realized true strength came from authenticity. This personal growth became the foundation for his future endeavors, shaping him into someone ready to define his own path. Recognizing their influence, Jonathan and X spoke at schools and youth programs, their story a lesson in resilience and standing up for what's right. They encouraged young people to see challenges as opportunities. X shared candid insights about pressure and finding his path, while Jonathan emphasized dignity in adversity. The sessions were heartfelt, sparking hope in students. Many expressed gratitude for a real, inspiring story. These encounters reinforced their commitment to mentoring youth, believing empowerment is key to a just future. Through these moments, they planted seeds of change that could grow for years. As the story came full circle, Jonathan and X reflected on the legacy they hoped to leave. What began as a tense moment blossomed into a journey of courage and change. They understood true impact comes from standing firm in values. Their friendship symbolized connection's power to overcome challenges. Together, They showed respect and dignity transcend status. They pledged to continue, knowing the path to justice requires persistence. Their story became a beacon for those facing adversity, a reminder that courage can transform lives. As they looked to the future, they felt hope, not just for themselves, but for everyone inspired by their journey. The truth they uncovered was unbelievable, but the strength they gained was undeniable. With the sunrise lighting their path, they stepped forward, united and unbreakable. What did this story of resilience and unexpected friendship teach you about facing adversity with dignity? And where are you watching this from? Drop your thoughts and location in the comments below. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories that remind us of the power of courage and connection. Your support helps us keep sharing these meaningful moments.